Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake?
What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Ron.
Aaron is here, everyone. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Guys, we got to talk about indicting David Miscavige. Indicting David Miscavige, probably David Miscavige's worst fear. Usually I say his worst fear is being deposed. These are two very similar things. There have been, despite all of the lawsuits against David Miscavige over the last 10 years, there have not been any indictments or prosecutions of David Miscavige or Scientology in any way, shape, or form. And actually getting David Miscavige indicted would be taking things to a whole nother level. And getting David Miscavige indicted is certainly something I can get behind. Now, how exactly that's going to happen, what new information would bring this about, are very big, important questions. But I'll tell you, there is an Indict David Miscavige initiative being launched. And no matter what happens, this is going to be unbelievably fascinating. I can say for sure that no matter what happens, this is going to be one of David Miscavige's new biggest nightmares. And part of that is because of who is leading the initiative. And it is someone who knows David Miscavige better than almost anyone else on earth. You know, maybe Shelley knows him better. I don't know. I don't know. And it's someone who has been around, who was around David Miscavige for longer than almost anyone else on earth, and who really does know, or does or should know. I mean, until we hear, I can't say, but should know, I assume does know some of the worst dirt on David Miscavige, and that is Tom Vocht. Now, I did a video a couple days ago, a little tongue-in-cheek about Tom and his Substack blog post called "Is This Man Scientology Jesus?" And I started out that video by saying it was tongue-in-cheek, and I was having a bit of fun with it. And I did a rather critical, unexpectedly critical. I didn't expect it to go as hard as it did. Critical review of one of his recent blog posts where he basically said, I'm not here to go after Scientology. I'm here to go after David Miscavige. And my criticism of that blog post was not about the idea of going after David Miscavige. My criticism was my interpretation of what I was reading, that it seemed to be taking shots at people who've been working in this space for a long time, that somehow they weren't doing enough or weren't doing it right. And, you know, I've had some communication with Tom, and he's made it clear that's not what he meant. And I believe him completely. You know, I think the day will come when Tom and I do a chat. We can chat privately, but I mean, do a chat publicly about what exactly is going on. What exactly his thoughts and feelings are about what he's doing, how what he's doing is unique and different than what's been happening, what he thinks, you know, how he thinks this is all going to roll out. Like what new information are district attorneys, state attorneys, prosecutors going to have that they haven't already have? These are all very big questions. And I hope to be able to share a lot of that information with you guys publicly. I hope to be able to help Tom share that information with a bigger audience, because guys, I'll tell you, anything and everything that will genuinely act as one of David Miscavige's biggest nightmares is something I'm here for, guys. It's kind of why I'm here. It's kind of my thing. Trying to be David Miscavige's worst nightmare and trying to help other people be David Miscavige's worst nightmare as well. And the truth is, Tom probably doesn't need my help to become David Miscavige's worst nightmare, but it sure would make me happy to help. Okay, so let's pick it up a little bit where we left off. After the video I did a couple days ago, Tom has done 2 blog posts since then, and let's look at them. Let me share them with you. So this is Tom Vocht's Substack account. You guys can find him over there. And here is the blog post he put up after the video. Okay, after the video that I did. So let's just go through it, guys. The Indict David Miscavige Initiative And I like this view better these days. So let's do that. Okay, Tom says, let me make something clear. I'm getting a lot of feedback and suggestions, some good, some bad, some intended to dismay me or sway me off course already, some extra helpful. A lot of people have reached out. I'm talking to everyone. If I haven't gotten back to you yet, I will as soon as I can. I've spoken to people I trust with my life and people I wouldn't trust to hold the door. I share my plans with them all the same. I have no secrets, no hidden agenda. The strategy is clear as day. I treat everyone equally. I listen, I weigh, and I decide what's true, useful, or trash for myself. I've hurt the feelings of close friends who thought I was dissing them. I wasn't. I've already seen ire, clearly tainted with Scientology-like accusations and misinformation. And yes, the whisper campaigns have already begun. I respect and admire what's been done to expose and destroy the harms inflicted by the cult. But by many, including those who took leadership roles. I detest the infighting because I understand the cause. By the way, the first time I read that sentence, I didn't truly understand it. And then I realized he meant I detest the infighting, but I understand the cause of the infighting. Okay, I love the idea of unity, but already it's clear. David Miscavige's claws are in deep. I also respect the fact, and by the way, my interpretation of that sentence is that when Tom sees the infighting, he immediately sees David Miscavige's role in bringing that infighting about. And undoubtedly that is true. Undoubtedly that is true. Even when there are real, valid, honest to God reasons that people are upset with each other, it is undoubtedly true that David Miscavige and his operatives are involved in inflaming the upsets that exist between people to increase the temperature of the upset with the goal of bringing about as much infighting as possible or causing it to explode in public, whereas maybe it would have stayed in private, or causing the rifts to be deeper and further apart than they might have otherwise become. This is undoubtedly true. And it will be fascinating in 20 or 30 years when we get the next revelation of secret OSA documents like we had recently of what Mike Rinder took with him back in 2004 or whatever it was, 2007. It will be fascinating in 20 or 30 years to find out who were David Miscavige's secret undercover operatives in this movement that none of us have ever suspected, who have been genuinely involved in inflaming discord and conflicts and fighting, even when the rifts might have occurred organically. It will be fascinating to see that when the day comes. Okay, so he goes, I also respect the fact that Scientology has religious recognition. I know the legal and cultural challenges that presents. I respect that some still have faith in it, like so many have faith in one religion or another. It is not my place to change your mind or attack your faith. So that sentence to me indicated that Tom is not an independent Scientologist, does not consider himself an independent Scientologist, is not trying to practice Scientology, is not trying to save Scientology, but is really just trying to focus on indicting David Miscavige, which I can appreciate and respect. Okay, Tom says, but I too won't be persuaded, not by praise, not by backlash, not by guilt trips or groupthink. Please understand, none of what I write, none of what I publish is written for you. I write for one person only, David Miscavige. And believe me, he reads and understands every single word and every bit of subtext. He knows why I'm writing it and why it was written that way. He knows what it means. He knows where I'm going with it. This is a continuation of the psychological warfare that started long ago. If you want to understand it, read my Substack. My fight is not with Scientology. My fight is not with the church. My fight is not with the cult. My fight is not with the people inside, outside, for it or against it. My fight is with the man who hijacked it, destroyed lives, and hides behind its protections. I am not here to reform Scientology. I am not here to revive Scientology. I am here to expose, smoke out, and indict David Miscavige, to prosecute him, and to bring justice. Scientology, the word itself, will never appear in any filings. It is irrelevant. If Miscavige wants to drag the church into it, perfect. Let him explain how it's relevant to his crimes. So I feel like these words can be interpreted many ways because they are general in nature. I find it fascinating to consider what they may mean. I can tell you that when I first read it, how I interpreted them was, I asked myself, is Tom implying that David Miscavige has committed crimes for which he could be prosecuted that even in fact have nothing to do with Scientology? That's how I first interpreted it. I'm not sure at all that that's what it does mean, but I thought it was fascinating that that's one of the possible interpretations. If David Miscavige thinks I want to be the Jesus of Scientology, so be it. Let him think. My fight is not with anyone or anything but David Miscavige, and I have no interest in being pulled into any community of discord. I know the field I'm in and who controls it. It's full of minefields, flying monkeys, and double agents. I know David Miscavige and how he thinks, how he reacts, and how he makes mistakes. If you're with me, I'll know. If you're against me, I'll know that too. And if you're against me, we all know exactly who you're working for. The Indict David Miscavige Initiative. That's who we are. If you think you can help this cause, contact me, contact us. The thing is, like, who's us? I don't know who us is. Anyway, let's keep going. We will not be bought. We will document the evidence. We will smoke him out. We will indict. We will prosecute, and we will get justice for our families and yours. And here we have an unmasking COB thing. So the idea of indicting David Miscavige is something I think every ex-Scientologist would support. You know, even the ex-Scientologists who like to hate on the ex-Scientologists that like to hate on Scientology could support indicting David Miscavige. And yet, and of course, there are also those who go, you know, David Miscavige isn't the only reason Scientology is bad, went bad, does bad. David Miscavige isn't the only source of abuse in Scientology. David Miscavige isn't the originator of all of the horrifically destructive practices in Scientology. And what I'm taking away from this writing and from some of the communication that I've had with Tom is that his focus on David Miscavige does not minimize any of these other truths. I feel like Tom Vocht himself is probably personally like one of the most uniquely qualified people to specifically hone in on David Miscavige. And what I'm sort of getting from him is that he's like, that's my strength, that's my focus, that's my interest, that's what I'm doing. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. And I am fully in support of indicting David Miscavige. I would personally like to better understand what new information, what new actions, what new revelations are going to make such a thing possible. I certainly think it is possible. I have certainly been under the impression that career bureaucrats in the Department of Justice and various U.S. attorneys' offices, and a lack of appetite to pick a battle with Scientology that may define the rest of one's career is largely to blame for a lack of prosecutions against Scientology. And I have reasons to believe that the tides are changing, the winds are changing even in that regard. I have reason to believe that specifically in the state of California and the state of New York in the Southern District, that tides are changing, winds are changing, appetites are changing. And that there is reason to believe that we will see prosecutions of Scientology, and that perhaps David Miscavige, through various uses of RICO statutes, would very much be pulled into those prosecutions. So anyway, look, there's a lot to know here. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to understand. There's a lot to find out. And I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. There was one more blog post that Tom put up that I'll share with you. Paywall removed. Okay. Let's see what this one says. I've just made all of my posts on Substack free to read and share. The Indict David Miscavige initiative is not about clicks, subscriptions, or monetizing trauma. It's about documenting the truth, exposing the man behind the curtain, and bringing him to justice. So if you're a current Scientologist, if you're a fence sitter, if you're someone who's scared to speak but curious enough to read, you can access everything here. No paywall, no barriers, and your information email is safe with me. I'll tell you what, and this is something I don't know how much about this Tom knows. Like Marty Rathbun, when he was the de facto leader of the ex-Scientology movement, I don't know if he was ever the de facto leader of the independent Scientology movement, really. I think many would argue that he was. His blog that he ran for many, many years was really like the central hub of ex-Scientology, anti-Scientology content and activism. When David Miscavige eventually got to Marty Rathbun turned literally everything over to them. Email addresses, comments, profiles, identities, IP addresses, literally everything. And so Tom is, just objectively asking people to trust him. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with asking people to trust you. But this is one of the reasons why I encourage people to use YouTube as a platform and a tool. If I do a video and you want to watch that video and you want to comment on that video, you don't have to trust me. It doesn't require any trust whatsoever. If you leave a comment on my video, I do not have your IP address. I do not have your email address. I do not have anything. And so, YouTube is a very, very effective weapon against Scientology. And, blog posts and blogs can also be a weapon against Scientology to the degree that information is being put out there in the public sphere. But this is yet another reason why I think it would serve Tom very well to use YouTube. And we'll see. We'll see if he goes that direction. Okay, your information and your email is safe with me. If you believe in this work and want to support it, you can still subscribe as a paid reader, but you're not buying content, you're backing a cause. This initiative starts now, and it's for everyone who wants to see the truth come out and a predator held accountable. We will not be bought, we will not be silenced, and now we will not be gated. So anyway, I think it's very, very smart not to put a paywall, not to put any of this information behind a paywall. At the same time, anyone working on Scientology activism deserves to be able to make money doing that if the opportunity exists. There's plenty of people out there that want to support people doing Scientology activism. And that's yet another reason how YouTube is such a beautiful tool for Scientology activism. Because Google basically says, hey, you're putting up videos, we will put ads on your videos and we will give you a cut of that revenue. You don't need sponsors. You don't need donations. And yet people who want to donate to you can also continue to donate to you as well, whether it's through super chats or channel subscriptions or anything else like that. YouTube really is one of the things that has become David Miscavige's worst nightmare. And it's one of the reasons that I've just been encouraging as many ex-Scientologists as possible to use YouTube for that purpose, as you guys all know. Okay, let's go through some starred comments and we'll wrap this one up because there is so much more to cover today. All righty, what do we have? Donna G, Miscavige will just get pardoned if he gets convicted. I think I know why you're saying that, although I do personally disagree with that. I think I understand why you're saying it, though. Jojo, it's not behind a paywall now. He's made it free to read. Yep. RSQ. I think David Miscavige needs to be put on rice and beans. Dream Ultra Crazy. Tom Cruise is bigger than Scientology itself at this point. David is losing his grip on power. Okay, let's see. Oh, Matt Elliott. Was that question in the chat the other day actually Tom Vocht or just an impersonator? No, that was Tom Vocht in the chat the other day. I unfortunately didn't see his comment or I would have brought it up. It was a very nice, supportive comment. And yes, it was him. Does it matter to you? Not to me. Always good to see you, Rib Guy. Okay, this seems to have taken a turn. Now I am totally confused, but you have my attention. Okay. Lauren, this is smart. The church has protection. David doesn't. So legally, it's epic. Okay, that's an interesting point. You're right. Scientology as a A recognized religious entity in the United States has a certain degree of protection, but David Miscavige as an individual does not. That's totally true. That is true. I hadn't quite thought of it that way. A flying monkey says, did someone call my name? Renegan says, I think Tom is trying to be smart to not focus on the religious part of it, but to focus on the actual crimes and the ringleader of that circus. Well, look, when it comes to prosecution, that is not only smart, it is the only way to go. So like I focus on Scientology because that is my focus. I'm going to focus on, I focus on David Miscavige, but I don't have personal knowledge of the crimes David Miscavige has committed. I never worked with David Miscavige. I didn't know David Miscavige. I didn't work at the international base. I wasn't in RTC. So like I do what I can do the way I can do it and reach the audience I can reach. I have always been extremely disappointed that we do not see these high-level executives using publicly accessible, easily accessible platforms like YouTube to tell all the stories they know. It's been one of my biggest pet peeves. The only stories we hear is from the gold-based gossip, Mark Headley, that made everyone's business his business. And luckily, Mark's got a great recollection and a knack for telling stories. But he's always telling other people's stories. We never hear these high-level execs that work with Miscavige telling the dirt. We never hear it. We hear David Miscavige did this to me. David Miscavige did that to me. But we never hear, yes, okay, are there crimes? Are they like, I want to hear the juice. And I know that Tom has those stories, and that's why I'm unbelievably interested to hear what he has to say, and happy to help spread that word as far and wide as possible, because it really is David Miscavige's worst nightmare. I want to hear the stories. Okay, let's see. Itchy Thetans. Why wouldn't Tom want to share this incriminating evidence he refers to as widely as possible if the goal is to take down Captain Davy of the fake Space Navy? So, I mean, I guess I'm going to disagree here with the idea that he doesn't want to spread it as far and wide as possible. I think Tom has the platform, like this is the platform I can control. I can do what I can do on this platform. Tom is simply on Substack. He's actually put out a ton of blog posts on Substack. Now, the reason I haven't read the majority of his blog posts is because they were behind a paywall, and I just don't pay for content. I just don't. And so now that these things are not behind a paywall, I'm going to have to go through all the posts that he's done and see if there's anything about David Miscavige that I would just be, salivating to share with you guys. But I mean, I would argue that Tom does want to get this information out as far and wide as possible. But also this, if your goal is to indict, the truth is you don't have to get it out to the world in order for that information to get where it needs to go and accomplish what it needs to accomplish. It does seem that no matter what your goal is, it is just simply a good idea to get it out as far and wide as possible. I believe Tom's on board with that. And as long as these blog posts are being done, I'm happy to do what I can do to make that happen anyway. So that's my thoughts on that. Let me see here. What do we have? Okay, Jojo says, why just David Miscavige? I don't get it. It's like he won't to get the man. He wants to get the man and not the organization. But why? Why? I have thoughts on this, but let me not speak for Tom. Tom will speak for himself. Joe Cooter, it's remarkable how much that blog post adopts the tone of the anonymous videos. Daniel White says indictments will produce discovery. All private communications are available for viewing. After that, it's open season. Okay, just looking at a few of these comments. Okay, Lauren says support for anyone speaking up after they support for anyone speaking up, even after they contributed to abuse, because that's what it will take to stop the suffering of children currently being abused. Totally true. Renee Noel, Tom could certainly use your 240,000 subscribers for backup. He needs to get on with you and lay it outside. I've certainly made my case for why, look, nothing on the internet at this point, in my opinion, is more appreciated and more well-received and more welcome than long-form, unscripted conversations where people can connect with you, they can relate with you, they can get a feel for you. I mean, that is the most popular form of media at this point. Long form, unscripted, real conversations. And I've certainly made my argument for why, no matter what Tom wants to accomplish, I think it would be beneficial to do that. And he could do that with anybody, but I would love if he would do that with me. And I think you will find that at some point he will, for sure. And the truth is, look, I think I've shown, clearly, I've proven that I relish the opportunity to use this platform to signal boost anything that will take down, humiliate, embarrass Scientology and David Miscavige. It's what makes me feel good inside. And if what Tom is putting out is stuff that will do that, I will signal boost it whether Tom comes on and does it with me or not. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have to come on with me in order for that to occur. I just think it would be awesome. That's all. So we're saying the same thing, really. And okay, that's it, guys. We're going to wrap this one up here. Stay tuned, guys. So much more to come today. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click